And worth it, I'm going to be trying 3 tablets at 3 drastically different price points and oh. Hey everybody, it's LavenderTowne. Today we're trying out different types of drawing tablets, from the screenless type I learned to draw on, all the way up to the super fancy standalones that don't even need a computer to work. These have been provided by xppen, our lovely sponsor, but these tablet categories are accurate to a lot of the brands, so this should be helpful regardless. I'm going to draw something on each of these styles of tablets, talking about the pros and cons, and giving you my advice on which one is going to be right for you. Let's start with the simplest, most affordable offering. Most artists I know, including myself, start with this type of tablet. Often called a graphics tablet, the xppen version is called the Deco 01 V3. This type of tablet is pretty simple to set up and use, and it features no screen, so you can hold it on your desk or on your lap, and draw while looking at the computer you've plugged it into. These tablets will usually be the most affordable, and sometimes people use these for things like taking notes by hand or playing games like Osu. Despite this type of tablet not having as many bells and whistles as some of the later fare we will be reviewing, there are some benefits to this type of tablet that I still miss sometimes. The cons of not having a screen are that it can take some time getting used to drawing without being able to look at your hand and your pen. For me personally, it didn't take me as long as I expected to learn it though, and I think anyone who is comfortable using a mouse to move a cursor on screen can learn to get comfortable with this setup. The pros of this style of tablet are that there are often fewer cables. Some of them are even Bluetooth enabled, which would mean no cables at all. My favorite thing about these types of tablets is that it's actually much more comfortable to use over long periods of time, for me anyway. Tablets with screens can encourage you to really shrimp up, and it can be hard on your neck, your shoulders, and your back. With this type of tablet, you can put it wherever is most comfortable for your wrist and arms, and as long as your computer monitor is at an ergonomic position, your posture will be much easier to maintain in a healthy way. Also, if you want to stream while drawing, you will get a much better shot of your face drawing if you're looking up at your computer, which should be closer to like your webcam, instead of hunching over your tablet, showing your scalp to the whole internet. If you're a streamer who uses Facecam, a newer digital artist who doesn't have a huge budget, or even just somebody who wants to try out digital art but you're not sure if you want to stick with it, this is probably the right type of tablet for you. Now in this category, you want to make sure that the size isn't too incredibly small, because the smaller the drawing area, the more your cursor is going to whip around when you make every little movement. I also recommend getting one with some buttons. Having an undo button easily accessible is really nice. I'm a big believer that if you want to start digital art, but you aren't in a position to spend a bunch of money on a tablet, it's better to get one of these guys than to wait a long time saving up for one of the higher tiers. Getting in that digital art practice is worth a lot, and it'll be easy to switch over when you get to the point that an upgrade would be helpful. This type of tablet got me through years of learning digital art, and I honestly loved it. So for the pros of your basic graphics tablet, it's more easy to set up, more ergonomic, and fits in almost any workspace. Now talking specifically about the Deco 01 V3, I found it to be kind of the perfect size, very responsive, and I really liked the stylus even though it didn't have an eraser. I just used the customizable buttons on the side of the pen instead. The only real con I experienced is that you definitely get fewer extras compared to some of the other tablets I'm going to test, but you have everything you need. Now let's look at the most popular style of drawing tablet. This is a classic screen tablet, and this is the style I mostly use today. They vary in screen quality and in things like buttons or dials on the side, but generally, this family of tablets are recognizable by their large screens, which bring a drawing experience that is more like drawing on paper. This one is the xppen Artist Ultra 16 4K OLED. It comes with a pen case, shortcut remote, and a dual angle stand. The 16 refers to the size. For my space, a 16-inch tablet works well. Keep an eye on the size because some screen tablets can be absolutely massive and may not fit well into your workspace. On the other hand, these can also get quite small, and if you're already going to be investing in a screen tablet, you want to make sure you won't feel cramped drawing on it. The 4K OLED is giving information on the screen quality. 4K is obviously a very high resolution, and OLED means it's a screen with really rich contrast where you won't have grayed out shadows. So screen tablets have a lot of variety. Even inside this brand, there are a lot of upgrades and options to suit your needs, but generally I think a screen tablet is a worthy investment to most intermediate or higher level artists. This specific tablet features a fully laminated screen with eye-friendly low blue light, it's Kelman colored verified, allows for touch gestures, and comes with the X3 Pro Smart Stylus, which has 16,000 pressure levels. Each screen tablet's screen and stylus quality will vary. This one's pretty fancy because it's the newest tablet that I'm featuring in this video. The first major con you're likely to encounter is that it is pricier than a graphics tablet. They used to be way more expensive. Luckily, over the past handful of years, it has come down a lot and they've become a lot more accessible to ordinary people. But it still will cost more, of course, because you have a giant screen on it. You also need to consider wire management. Now, depending on the type of computer you're going to be plugging this into, you might have to deal with kind of a mess of wires. If you have a fully featured USB-C port on your computer, one that can send visual information through that and power, then you only really need one wire, but a lot of people's computers don't necessarily have that. So they'll often need to use like 3 or more wires, one to power the screen, one to actually take in the movement of the pen, and one to send the visual information between your computer and the tablet to display on the screen. And if you don't know a lot about cable management or you don't have a very large workspace, that can turn into a tangled mess really quickly. It is totally manageable if you have some cable ties and things like that. Also, xppen at least offers a 3-in-1 cable that comes with these types of tablets, so at least all of those cables are sort of bundled together and in a way that's much easier to handle, but some other brands just give you 3 cables and it gets really, really messy. As I mentioned before, it can be a little hard on your posture because you might find yourself wanting to hunch over it and get closer to the screen, which is obviously not a concern with the graphics tablet. And I will say that setup is usually a little bit harder. The drivers can be a little bit more complex. It's asking your computer to do different things that the graphics tablet is not having to ask it to do. So the possibility of setup taking a little longer or needing some troubleshooting is much higher with this tablet type. With all that being said, there's a reason that this type is so popular. It is a much more natural drawing experience, more similar to how you probably first drew on paper. It is standard in so many professional areas. I also find that I can draw way faster on my screen tablet versus a graphics tablet, which is worth a lot if you're a professional. Also, when you're not actively using it, you can use it as a free second monitor, which is kind of a random perk, but I do this all the time. This is a standalone tablet. These guys are really fancy. This one is called the xppen Magic Drawing Pad, and it's very sleek and portable. Standalone tablets can be very different from each other. I had one of these towards the end of my art school experience from a different brand that I won't name, but that one was really clunky. It was very heavy, the fans would run so loud in class that it would be kind of embarrassing, and sometimes it would run so hot it would start to smell like burning popcorn. It also crashed constantly and had a very low-res screen. This one luckily is a lot more to my liking. It's light, which is important because one of the biggest selling points of a standalone tablet is that you can take it with you really easily. Even with a very light laptop and a small graphics tablet, a digital drawing setup is really not a very portable experience, whereas this little guy could come with you pretty much wherever. I definitely recommend getting a keyboard with your tablet if you're getting a standalone. It is much nicer to use than the on-screen keyboard for me. This tablet type might be right for you if you want to or have to work on the go a lot. Having access to a full-service drawing program on a portable device is really powerful. The Magic Drawing Pad is an Android-based system, so you can use Android-based drawing apps on it, and I will say that I tested out the Clip Studio Paint Android version, and it is very fully featured. I can't believe how far these drawing apps have come. Back when I was first starting digital drawing, they were just utter trash, but now I can actually make my workspace look identical to the one that I use on the PC, and that's really, really convenient. If you want to try this type of tablet, make sure you pay attention to the technical information, especially if it's from an unknown brand that you don't necessarily know or trust yet. This is more akin to buying a computer than just a graphics tablet, so there's going to be a lot more variety. This one even has a camera on the back, which is absolutely wild. If you're trying to fit drawing into a busy schedule where you're out and about a lot, or if you prefer to work at cafes or outside instead of at a dedicated desk space, this is a great option for you. As for the cons for this tablet type, again, this is a usually much pricier product because you're not using the computing power of a computer that you bought separately. It's all in there, so you're having to basically pay a little more for the much higher amount of technology that's inside the thing. Usually they're also a little bit smaller for drawing space because they're really focused on portability. I find that this size works perfectly fine for me, but if you're someone who's used to drawing on a really large screen tablet, it might feel like a downgrade to you, which would be a bitter pill to swallow if you spent a lot more on it. But for me, I really find the benefit of being able to take it with me. Makes this not so much of a con, but I thought I would mention it anyway. The only other con I could think of with this tablet type is that it needs to be charged. This particular tablet, I cannot believe the battery life on it. It's much better than another tablet that I have that you may have seen on the channel that dies really, really fast, so I was very pleasantly surprised about that. And I also find that the touch versus the pen works really well on this one. However, you might have different experiences with different standalone tablets. Like I said, they can be constructed really differently from brand to brand to brand. The first one of these that I had was absolutely awful. It was so heavy, it was so bad, and I would never get a standalone tablet from that brand ever again, but this one I really like. If you're serious about getting this tablet type, the things I recommend looking out for are, of course, reviews. You want to make sure that it's not going to crash a lot on you. You want to make sure that the type of drawing program that you like is going to be available on this. You also want to make sure that the screen is going to work for you. This one has a very nice finish that feels good to draw on. I know some of them are kind of like, not sticky, but kind of like mushy feeling to draw on. So you want to make sure that you're checking reviews and making sure that people say it's really responsive. Lag on a screen tablet of any kind is super frustrating and really hard to get used to. So that's one thing I would keep an eye out for. And also just making sure that people do say that the battery life is okay. With the first standalone tablet I ever had, I needed to basically keep it plugged in at all times. When I first got it, its battery life only lasted like an hour of active use, which is kind of pointless for something that you're wanting to take around with you. If you're tethered to the wall whenever you're using it, it's not as useful. You want to be able to use it like on the train, on the bus, in a coffee shop where you might not have an outlet next to you. So battery life is also a big thing to look out for. Here are a couple of last minute things to think about if you're still not sure which tablet type is right for you. Remember that the total size of the tablet is not the same as the active area. The active area is the part of the tablet that you actually draw on, so it will always be smaller to leave room for the bezels and things like dials and buttons. I've reviewed a shockingly small tablet, which was torture to actually draw on, and I've reviewed an enormous tablet, so I know that my ideal size is between a standard 8x11-inch piece of paper up to the active area on your average 24-inch screen tablet. My workspace can't really handle much more than 24 inches because I have a smaller desk, and when I have to draw in an active area less than a standard sheet of paper, I start to feel a bit tight and confined. Speaking of figuring out sizing, check your computer's monitor size. If you're getting a non-screen tablet, you may benefit from trying to make sure that the monitor you're looking at isn't like triple the size of your tablet. It makes it a little harder to adjust to. It's likely that your tablet will be smaller, of course, but if you have a tiny tablet and an ultra-wide monitor, it's gonna feel pretty weird at first. If you're upgrading your tablet and have already used a tablet on your current computer, make sure to remove the driver from your old tablet before you install new drivers. Luckily for me, xppen deletes out-of-date xppen drivers when I install the new ones, but if you're switching brands or you're using a different one, you might have to do this manually. Having clashing drivers can make the process of setting up your new tablet way more frustrating than it has to be. take the time to set up your shortcut buttons. I have specific shortcuts I like on my pen buttons and my tablet buttons if there are any, and it's worth it to just set those up before you really get going. Then you can kind of build the muscle memory for those buttons and it becomes really second nature. My pen buttons are always a right click on the bottom with a toggle between my eraser and my brush on the top. Your tablet will come with defaults, but you can almost always customize them, so make it suit your particular way of drawing. I hope this was helpful to you guys. Updating my tablet guide was long overdue. It was so out of date. Thank you to xppen for sending me these examples and supporting the channel. I genuinely can recommend them. They're so good. I've linked them all in my description if you guys are in the market. I'll also try to answer any questions in the comments if you guys need some more specific advice. Thanks so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much to my patrons and members, including Pale Star, Darkholder, Frog Scourge, Zucchini, Zio Rays, The Main PC, Esther Kaufman, Sopapia, Roger Baker, Pretty Little Head Poppy Seed, Hey Joel, Neko Omori, Trexa Panda, Lucians, Lonely Zealot, Novel Goblin, The Mousy Mouse, Clown of Clubs, Prince Piplip III, I'm a Potato, Honey Kitten, Loro, Data, Lily McFarlane, Skitten, Gold Pikachu. The Names Are Gone, Crodotus, Rectangle, Blanket of Misery, Moves Like Platinum, Sunday Good Enough, Ace Warner, Jordan, Clown of Clubs, Jeffu, Sunshine, River to Goblin, Raz to Roche, Casey, Graveyard Moss, Grexius, Emma Lightning, The Midwestern Menace, CB, Lucy Yamajiki, Ravenscrow, Zocelot, Jabber Dabber Doo, Light Julie, Kadaria, The Expressive Poker Face, Tsubaki, Cutie Pie, Ice Cream Pal, Cola, JJ Jade, and of course, leblehblehbleh.